The diagram here is a pretty standard illustration, if it shows itself, of a classical production pipeline. And without going into details, this is just an illustration that represents the three main phases of a game development production cycle. I believe that the same diagram could be used to represent any game's development cycle. Our stage gate process is basically our process that greenlights the successful achievements of a production phase, allowing the team to continue and advance to the next phase. I assume this is pretty standard for all of you. Nothing too innovative here, you'll tell me. Right, so maybe. But this pipeline has been the backbone of what created Ubisoft's creative structure, and you will see why in a bit. First, let me go back in time once again a little bit. What I would like to do now is take a few moments to look at the specific components of this process that generated success for the games we produced in the early 2000s, and how we learned from that experience and adapted our procedures, tools to continue to develop quality, innovative games year after year since those first successes. Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell. I'm sure most of you remember the original Splinter Cell. Who in this room would like to take a crack at telling me why this game was so successful with its over 6 million copies sold worldwide? I'm sure if I were to ask the question, answers would be like, it was the best stealth game, ever made before, and the whole undercover thing, and how, the lengthy gameplay came into building the thrill. Yes, absolutely. But I believe that the main factor of success for the original Splinter Cell was the light and shadow gameplay. Let me read the GameSpot review segment that highlights the importance of that innovative gameplay experience after the video. First time the franchise was being created on the launching Xbox at the time. So when the game came out, we were, unexpectedly reading then all the reviews that came after. So one of them stipulates this: Splinter Cell features some impressive production values, including hands down the best lighting effects in any game to date. The game's real-time lighting isn't just for show, since making use of the light and shadows in each area is a critical part of the gameplay. But still, it's real light can be when you see things like warm sunlight seeping through Venetian blinds, or a floodlight beaming through a chain-link fence looking for you. Another review reads as follows: but for the first time ever, the developers of Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell have tamed light and shadow to not only present the most groundbreaking lighting effects in video game history, but to have it do their bidding. And they have effectively used light and shadow within the gameplay elements, validating the hard work and beauty of the game. So, comments like, best lighting effects in any game to date, or for the first time ever, or music to my ears. Why? Simply because what these reviews are saying is that the light and shadow feature in gameplay experience were, simply put, breakthroughs. Now let's jump to Prince of Persia: Sands of Time. Again, a little glimpse in the past, from 2003 on PlayStation 2. Very old stuff, but I'll explain why. So, the game was also considered groundbreaking by many industry experts and critics, but for different reasons this time. One of the elements that set Sands of Time apart was the quality of the animation and the whole series of acrobatic gameplay that were featured in the game. It is a really good set again for the game. It's this phenomenal sense of freedom that surrounds the movement and the way in which it can be used to interact with the holy giant but still linear 3D world that makes the experience so exceptional. Once again, we're talking about some groundbreaking ideas or gameplays that were not common in the industry at the time of the release of the game. Without going through every game that we have developed at the Montreal studio over the last 7 years, since the release of the original Splinter Cell. And after all, we have released over 42 games now since then. I think you see where I am going with all of this. Since its beginning, and through the majority of the game it has developed, Ubisoft has been driven by high risk, but high reward decisions, innovative, and a desire to be creative. Now let's go back to the visual graph that we had earlier. Actually, it's not the same graph. It's an upgraded version. The additional phase you see now is the one we have identified as the most important gate in our whole production pipeline, the breakthrough gate. We all agreed earlier that in the previous version of the diagram, there was nothing too innovative. Now I will explain to you how this version has something that is unique to Ubisoft. First, how do we define a breakthrough? We've narrowed it down to being a unique and remarkable feature that is based on a technological innovation that leads to a new way to play that doesn't leave the player, who is at the core of this whole process, indifferent. This additional milestone in the production cycle is here to ensure that the player benefits, or fun, as we refer to it, is at the core of the game, as well as to encourage our development teams to take risks and innovate in their game design. The breakthrough is the single factor that all our major successes share, and the one upon which we are building our future success. This gate was not added by our creative talents. We have come to realize that the breakthrough is the single factor that all our major successes have in common. So from being an unofficial creative iteration, the breakthrough gate has been formalized and added in our production pipeline, and now holds the